There was a time when people only spoke to machines to give instructions. You told them what to do, they did it, and the exchange ended there. The relationship was simple and practical. Now something quieter is happening. People aren't only asking AI for answers anymore. They're talking to it in a way that feels closer to conversation, not because they expect intelligence or insight, but because the interaction doesn't pressure them to perform. It doesn't begin in any dramatic way. Someone types a sentence they wouldn't say out loud, often because it isn't finished yet. The thought might feel awkward or unclear, and they don't want to shape it properly before seeing if it even makes sense. They aren't looking for comfort or advice. They just want the thought to exist somewhere outside their head without being corrected or rushed. What surprises them is how the response feels. There's no hurry, no interruption, and no signal that the moment needs to be wrapped up. The conversation continues without pushing toward a conclusion. Most human conversations don't work like this. Even when people care, they listen while also preparing their reply. They're aware of time, relevance, and what they should say next. That balance quietly changes what gets shared. AI doesn't carry that pressure. It responds without competing for the conversation, and it doesn't seem bothered when the same idea returns from a slightly different angle. For many people, that kind of patience feels unfamiliar. This doesn't mean AI understands in a human way. It doesn't feel concern. It doesn't remember you later, and it doesn't carry the weight of what you said into the future. But it does something specific that many conversations no longer offer. It creates room. In everyday life, room is rare. When someone pauses while speaking, others often jump in to help by guessing the ending or offering reassurance. That instinct usually closes the thought before it has fully formed. With AI, that moment isn't rushed. You can change your mind halfway through a sentence, contradict yourself later, or explore an idea without knowing where it will land. The conversation doesn't fall apart because nothing is forcing it to resolve. That's why people keep returning, not because the responses are better, but because clarity isn't demanded immediately. There's also less risk involved. Talking to another person always changes something. Words can be remembered, judged, or brought up later. Even silence can feel loaded. AI doesn't react to pauses or unfinished thoughts, and that lowers the cost of honesty. For many people, this becomes the first place they say certain things plainly. Not because it feels safe, but because there's no emotional reaction waiting on the other side. No facial expression, no tension. Just words being met with words. This changes how listening is experienced. Listening isn't only about empathy. It's also about patience. It's about letting thoughts stay open long enough to understand what they actually are. AI doesn't push toward closure unless you ask it to. Some worry this means people are replacing real connection, but most people aren't choosing AI instead of others. They're choosing it instead of saying nothing at all. There are thoughts we don't share because we don't know how to start, or because we're unsure how someone will react, or because we're still figuring out what we think. AI becomes a place where those thoughts can exist before they're ready to be shared. This doesn't weaken human relationships. In many cases, it makes later conversations clearer. People arrive with better language, less pressure, and fewer tangled emotions because they've already worked through the confusion once. What people talk to AI about is telling. Not just tasks or curiosity, but loneliness, uncertainty, and decisions they don't want validated yet. They're not asking to be told they're right. They're trying to understand themselves enough to keep thinking. That says something uncomfortable about modern life. Many people don't feel fully listened to, not because others don't care, but because everything moves too fast to hold open-ended conversations. AI, by accident, slows things down. This doesn't make it the solution. AI can't replace shared history, presence, or being known over time, but it fills a gap that already existed. Listening has quietly become transactional. Respond quickly, be useful, then move on. AI doesn't need to move on, so it stays with the conversation longer than most people can. That changes expectations. Once you experience what it feels like to finish a thought without interruption, you notice when that patience is missing elsewhere. This might be the most unexpected effect of AI, not intelligence or automation, but reminding us what unhurried attention feels like. There are limits, of course. AI doesn't notice changes in tone or carry emotional weight the way people do, and it shouldn't. But the relief people feel from simply being allowed to continue speaking tells us something important. The issue was never a lack of advice, it was a lack of space. When AI becomes the one who listens, it reflects something back to us, not about technology, but about how rare it has become to let someone talk without steering them. The real question isn't whether people will rely too much on AI. It's whether we'll learn from what people are actually using it for. They aren't asking for intelligence, they're asking for attention. And attention, when it isn't rushed, changes how people think. It allows confusion to exist long enough to turn into understanding. AI didn't invent that need. It just made the absence easier to see. If this reflection stayed with you, you can like the video, subscribe for more calm explorations like this, and share your thoughts in the comments. Sometimes the most meaningful conversations are the ones held open long enough to finish.